Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the September 11th, 2024 Board of Supervisors meeting. Mr. Fisher and Mr. Davis will not be here tonight. Tonight is a night that we're going to remember something that lives in all of our hearts, and of course that's September 11th. So if you could join us in a moment of silence for that, we would greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Manager, are there any changes to the agenda tonight?
Yes, there's one change to the agenda. Item 9B is being removed from the agenda.
Any special actions?
No special actions.
That brings us to our first round of public comment. This is for items that aren't on the agenda this evening. Please state your name and address.
Hi, I'm Ann Friend. This is my husband, Mark Friend, 15 Stupeville Road, Newtown. I just have a quick statement to read. We want to comment publicly and bring your attention to an ongoing issue we are experiencing with the zoning office. There is currently a house under major remodeling next door to us. We have emailed the zoning office on several occasions to ask zoning questions and do not receive responses from the zoning office. We have used the right to know law to obtain blueprints, permits, emails, etc. However, what we see the contractor's building wasn't matching the provided information. We have asked for clarification on numerous issues and never hear back, whether it's within the permit, not within the permit, just no answer whatsoever, which we feel is unprofessional, to be honest. Just this morning, my husband went to the zoning office in person to request if Newtown has any ordinance on asbestos siding removal. Contractor was not masked or suited this morning and removing old siding from the top of the dwelling and dropping it right to the ground where it would shatter. It didn't seem like this was a proper procedure for asbestos-related material disposal. We checked for a mention on the website but didn't find anything. So that is why Mark drove over to the office. The office was not interested in the question and was very dismissive. Coincidentally, by the time Mark got home, the contractor was bagging up all the debris. And I emailed the office just to have a paper trail because they didn't seem to write anything down or take any information. So as of this afternoon, I haven't heard anything from them. We don't know zoning laws, but I bet each supervisor and Newtown Township employee would not like their neighbor ripping possible asbestos shingles off the dwelling, having microscopic asbestos fibers released into the air and floating into the open windows. We were just trying to get information from zoning and make sure we are protected, or not, by zoning. That's my statement. We think zoning should answer our emails. It really comes down to it.
Can I ask a question? Is zoning responsible for overseeing this type of work and making sure it's done safely, or is that the engineer's job?
It's the building inspector's
Building
job.
inspector.
Sounds like work is being done on a single-family home.
Yes.
Is that correct? It would be the building inspection office, not the zoning office.
Well, we've never been referred to anybody else. And when we talk to the zoning office, they say, talk to the zoning office, talk to the woman in charge.
Another example is We were at the February meeting and the March meeting, and the whole zoning hearing, the zoning board was here. They postponed it until the actual owner was available in March, so we went there in March. Now, in March, we went over and we tried to explain the situation because there was a water situation. Zoning said they didn't want to even hear about it at that point. They were very cooperative on the first meeting, second meeting. All they said is, you got to talk to the zoning officer. You got to talk to the zoning officer. So every time we go to the window and ask for the zoning officer or talk to somebody, they tell us, you got to send her an email, or you got to send her an email. We do that. We get non-response, for the most part. We have gotten several responses, but for the most part, we get non-responses. And
Is there a contact number or something for the building inspector office?
Yes,
I'm sorry.
it's the same number for the township building.
So that when you call up, they can ask for that office?
Yep.
So, thank you for coming to the meeting and telling us this. I had no idea, and I promise you we're going to look into it, and we're going to get back to you after we do.
Thank you. And could I say one last thing? I have all the emails and everything else, all the paperwork that was provided to us. So if you have any questions, you can feel free to contact us, Mark and Ann Friend, 15 Stupid. Thank you again.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment?
John April, Newtown Grant, biggest and the best. Also, I'd like to mention about the September 11th and sad day for this country's history. Also, another sad day, September 15th, the closure of Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. When I first moved here over 29 years ago, there was a few employees from Newtown that worked there. Right now, it's just myself and another one that well known to all you people. You know, they train thousands of people in the area, get a lot of money for this area, not just Philadelphia. I mean, that's where it was located, but almost half the people that worked there lived in Jersey. So I'd like to give a shout out to that remembrance. It was a great place to work. Okay. Also, we have a certain person that likes to use social media, and he sent out to a whole bunch of people, because I got a bunch of phone calls before I actually seen it, and the guy was doing supposedly a comedy skit at Poco's in Doylestown, not the township, and he was disparaging the Newtown supervisors. Now, this is a bad mark for Newtown, not just your other people that are supervisors up there. You know, that he's trying to degrade the level of work that you guys do. And, you know, I told the guy he should have resigned. You know, he says in his comments up on stage over there that, you know, he took the job looking for respect. Well, you have to earn respect. You don't get respect just because you get elected to a position. I mean, if people were dumb enough to vote for you, I mean, hey. Also, he mentioned certain people in the township, certain citizens in the township. You know, who is he to disparage certain people who may come up here or just live in the township? One of the things he said, what they wear, you know. Now, supervisors used to have a dress code, not in the summertime because it's hot out and everything. You can see that. That's common sense. But they used to have a dress code that the gentleman would wear suits and ties. They never had anything with the woman, but there should have been. you know, to wear a suit and whatever. I mean, some of these guys come here, they look like bums, you know, and he's got a right to disparage people that are talking, you know, that live in the township, paying taxes here. I mean, you know, I know you guys don't like him, but he's there. He's one of you. So, I don't know. Tell him to resign. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Diablo, for your comments. That brings us to minor approvals and the Historical Architectural Review Board.
Thank you. Bill Mahler, Chair of the Township Historic Architectural Review Board. At our August 14th meeting, we had a certificate of appropriateness to review for Amma's South Indian Cuisine at Goodnoe Corner. They were applying to put new awnings up at the storefront. And there are representatives from the establishment here if you have any questions for them.
Does the board have any questions? Has everybody had a chance to look at the packet and see what exactly is there?
I did. This is the sign that goes above on the facade, is that correct?
No, it's only for the awnings. The signs were previously approved.
So this is the sunbrella material?
Correct.
Correct.
For the awnings, meaning at the tables, outside tables?
No, there was existing frames they had around the building they had awnings. They were colored, striped for Zoe's. And now we want to, well, they actually are removed. The frames are still there, but we wanted to cover just with a solid black material.
Oh, okay. All right.
Just, Mr. Marlowe, what's the opinion of the of Harb?
The board voted unanimously to recommend approval.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, if the board is of a mind, it would be a motion to grant the application of Amma's South Indian Cuisine for a certificate of appropriateness subject to the applicant's compliance with Harb's August 14th, 2024 memo.
Do I have a second? I'll second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. All right, that's unanimous vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all we had.
Thanks. Okay, down to reports of committees. So Mr. Fisher isn't here, so I will start with my report as vice chair. Mr. Fisher and I met with the borough to finalize our fire services agreement, and I'll talk about that a little later in the agenda. We are working on a proclamation at our next meeting for our local Little League team that did a great job of representing us, and we hope to have something to present to them at that time. The pollinator garden installation is scheduled for the weekend of October 13th and 14th in Roberts Ridge Park. All are invited to participate. Our local STEAM classes from South and North, the high schools, are going to help as well. And on behalf of the Newtown Sewer Authority, I'd like to say that we have completed the purchase of a 17-acre parcel at 42 University Drive on August 8th for the proposed new sewer facility. And that's all I have, Mr. Treasurer.
Thank you. Yes, regarding the Blue Dogs, my wife and I were there on August 21st at Chandler Field to welcome them home. And there were dozens, I think, the patch reported hundreds. Right, Jeff? Could have been hundreds. And so I'm looking forward to it was a very great atmosphere. The citizens were proud to be able to get together to do something positive for once. And so it was a good night. And I'm looking forward to the proclamation, and also perhaps, I believe we're looking into getting some kind of a plaque that we could give to each of the team members, which was also done in 2005, which Mr. Werner reminded me of. So that was good. I also attended the Joint Zoning Commission Council on September 6th, and one idea that I brought up is I distributed here an ordinance from Ithaca, New York about murals. And as some people may know, I had been speaking to Barbara Simmons, who was a former executive director of the Peace Center, about doing some kind of a mural in Newtown Township. Ms. Simmons has worked with several communities and police departments in Bucks County, such as Quakertown, Morrisville, Falls Township, etc., and they're working on a program that's sponsored by the Department of Justice to get community members together with the police to do these murals. Love is Love, I believe, is a theme. And so I distributed this sample ordinance because it was recommended by the organization that sponsors, that holds our joint zoning ordinances, and suggested that it's a good idea for townships to have such an ordinance to see if there's an interest in developing murals for the township. So I hope in the future we can talk about that at the Joint Zoning Council. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Calabro. Okay, that brings us to our public hearing. Mr. Sander.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first item is item 9A on the agenda. It's the application of Love and Honey Fried Chicken at 2830 South Eagle Road for a conditional use for an eating place and an eating place drive-in. At the request of the applicant, that matter requires action by the board to open and continue the hearing to September 25th. So on the application of MJ and TS Enterprises LLC, doing business as Love and Honey Fried Chicken, I would ask for a motion to open the hearing and continue it until September 25th, 2024 at 7:00 p.m. at the Township Building.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Anybody have a second? I'll second. All in favor? Aye. By unanimous decision, that has passed.
Thank you. Item 9B, the application of Flourish Cafe has been removed from the agenda this evening and will be re-advertised and reposted for a future hearing. We move to item 9C on the agenda, the application of Golden Girl Fitness, doing business as Body Rock Newtown, for premises located at 2835 South Eagle Road. This is the former Newtown bookstore location in the village at Newtown. Mr. Murphy is here representing the applicant, and he looks like he's ready to go. So, Mr. Murphy, we will ask that you have any witnesses you wish to testify be sworn in by our court reporter.
Thank you. To my immediate left is Kimberly Patton, one of the franchise owners, together with her husband, John, but Kimberly can be sworn if you'd like.
Other right, there you go.
Thanks. With the board's indulgence, maybe I can provide an executive summary of the application, and I think it's pretty straightforward, and then we can ask Kimberly if she has any comments or thoughts or corrections to my summary. I think the board, as Mr. Sanders said, is familiar with the location where this business would propose to be located. It's in the corner of the lower section of the village of Newtown, in the space formerly occupied by the Newtown bookstore, and across the breezeway from Turning Point Restaurant. The application, as Mr. Sander indicated, is to occupy the same space, 1,842 square feet, for a Pilates boutique fitness studio. We met with your planning commission in early August following receipt of the CKS review of July 26th, and the review letter is pretty unremarkable in terms of the questions asked. I think Phil, always as a courtesy to applicants in these types of matters, wants to make sure that the hours of operation are flexible enough to afford the applicant the ability to properly operate. That question was asked at your planning commission meeting, and to that extent, Kimberly and John did agree we would amend the application to, not that we would be open all this time, but to amend the application to allow the facility to open and operate between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. every day. It's not intended to do that, but that way we don't have to come back if the hours change. So, other than that amendment, the rest of the application and the review letter consistent with the application, Kimberly and John expect to have maximum 10 employees. They have a detailed floor plan we submitted with the application that spells out the number of available areas for people to be exposed to the Pilates boutique fitness regime. We don't have any hazardous materials. We don't have any special deliveries. It's a fairly benign type of operation in that location, and so happy, Kimberly is happy, or John, happy to answer any questions more specifically about the application, but that's effectively it. Kimberly, you've heard me make that short summary?
Yes, I think that's correct.
And anything else you would like to add beyond what I offered? If you want it, frequently people say, well, what is a boutique Pilates fitness studio? If you want to just give a quick overview of that.
Yeah, it's this fitness studio will utilize megaformers, which are a little bit bigger than a classical Pilates reformer. You can use both ends of it. It gives you a very dynamic workout. It's low impact, high intensity. They're 45-minute classes, and it'll be like 15 minutes between classes. Like Ed said, it's not going to be 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. It's going to be flexible in there to where we're going to, start and then build their hours. Typically, at full operation, we'd probably be running 6 a.m. to 1 or 2 p.m. and then from like 4 to 9, something like that. But it could go. We need the flexibility to be able to ramp up our schedule to full operation eventually.
Anybody have any questions? I have one. It's Golden Girls Fitness. Is that because you're trying to attract a certain woman, let's say, of a different age?
No, that's our LLC name, Golden Girl Fitness. I think somebody wrote it as Golden Girls. It's just Golden Girl. It's just a name for our LLC. The actual name of the boutique fitness will be Body Rock on the sign. It's Body Rock Newtown. It is a franchise. Started in California. They've got a bunch of corporate studios in Manhattan, and there's franchisees rolling out around the country, and more corporate studios coming to Manhattan, Chicago, and I think Texas is going to be another one for corporate. So that's why I'm DBA Body Rock Newtown.
Thank you. Sorry if I had the wrong impression.
Not for people my age, necessarily.
Well, there'll be no lanai outside either.
Pardon?
I guess you don't watch Golden Girls. But anyway.
She's too young.
Well, hey, my daughter watches. She's hooked on it. Are you kidding? But anyway, Ed, I guess I'm being predictable. Thank you for making that change. And now I have nothing else.
Thank you.
Now I have nothing else to say.
We're all sensitive to it now. Glad you did it.
Thank you.
I have one question. You mentioned the sign, Body Rock signage.
Yes.
Is that going to be like above on the facade of your business?
Yes, sir. On the facade of the Bricksmore Center there in front of where the bookstore was, it would read Body Rock. It's spelled Bodyrok. There's no C in that spelling.
Okay.
But yes, we
Do
do.
you,
Consistent, John, with the sign limitations in Village of Newtown?
Yes.
We're complying, we're not looking for any relief.
speaking of limitations, do you intend to have other kind of signage in the windows, door, explaining what this business is, for example? About?
No.
Okay, because I just come across one of our ordinances prohibits having more than one sign.
We're aware.
You're aware of that?
Yeah, we're going to
Okay.
comply fully with the sign requirements that have established VAN-wide. Village of
Great.
Newtown.
All right, thank you very much. That's it.
Yep. I don't have anything further, Mr. Sander.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Very quickly, I will mark the application as Exhibit B for Board 1. CKS Engineers Review Letter dated July 26th, 2024 is Exhibit B2. Posting of the property, a photograph depicting that will be Exhibit B3, and the proof of publication for this hearing will be Exhibit B4. Before we entertain a motion, is there any public comment on this matter? Seeing none, if the board is of a mind, it would be to consider a motion to grant the application of Golden Girl Fitness LLC, doing business as Body Rock Newtown, for a conditional use to allow a proposed athletic facility, use C6, in the PC Planned Commercial Zoning District at 2835 South Eagle Road in the Village at Newtown Shopping Center, Lot 4. Approval is conditioned on the applicant's compliance with the following conditions. First, the applicant shall comply with all comments set forth in the CKS review letter dated July 26, 2024. 2, the total capacity will be no more than 14 customers per session, with only 14 pieces of equipment in the studio. 3, the applicant must provide current will serve letters from the appropriate water and sewer agencies before receiving a certificate of occupancy. 4, the hours of operation shall be 7 days a week, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. 5, there will be 3 shifts with 2 to 3 employees per shift, with an average of 6 employees per shift and a maximum of 10 employees. 6, the use will not cause or disseminate noxious, toxic, or corrosive fumes, smoke, odor, or dust. There will be no loud noises, vibration, or objectionable heat, glare, or radiation beyond the property line, nor will the use create any other objectionable condition that may endanger public health and safety. In the event this condition changes, the applicant must immediately notify the landlord and township of the nature of the potential environmental risks and how it intends to render it safe for its customers, the public, and all employees. 7, there will be no hazardous, flammable, or explosive materials stored or used in the leased space. Should this change, the landlord and township must immediately be notified of the nature of the materials on site and how they will be kept in a safe condition. 8, deliveries must not interfere with deliveries to surrounding businesses and should be planned before or after regular business hours. 9, trash pickup will be coordinated with the other Newtown Shopping Center, I should say Village at Newtown Shopping Center tenants, so as not to interfere with the normal flow of traffic or operations of those businesses. 10, access, exit, and movement of customers within the leased space must be in full compliance with state and federal law concerning ADA compliance. 11, a copy of the lease agreement must be provided to the township prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy for the property. And 12, the applicant shall pay all outstanding fees, costs, and/or reimbursements to the township prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy. Before a motion is made, are those conditions acceptable to the applicant?
They are.
Thank you. Is there such a motion, Madam Chair?
Second? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes 3-0.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, and that will conclude the hearing.
Thank you. There is no land development this evening, so we're on to our engineer's report. Before we start, I would just say, I know that you don't see it on your agenda, members of the board, but I've asked Mr. Kandari to give a brief synopsis of the 2 pedestrian upgrades, our RFBs, so everybody knows what's going on with that. Thank you.
Sure, yep. Since the last meeting, we did receive the PennDOT review of the North Sycamore Street and Silo Drive traffic signal permit. They did provide an additional comment on August 23rd, and we are currently coordinating with them to address said comment. Previously, the Newtown Yardley Road and Tara Boulevard traffic signal permit plan from PennDOT was approved. Regarding the Sycamore Street and Silo, we do anticipate that this last comment will be the last one from PennDOT. So in anticipation of that, we have prepared the bid specification package and advertised the project for bid.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions? No? Okay, please proceed.
Thank you. Item number 1 on our agenda here is the Newtown Archdiocese of Philadelphia All Saints Property Planning Module. We are in receipt of the package. We have completed our review submitted by Ebert Engineering for the residential development known as the All Saints property. RVE has found the submission to be complete, and we are recommending to the Board of Supervisors to review the planning module and approve said planning module.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Kandari on this? This is basically the EDUs for.
That's correct, yes.
Yes. No questions? Do I have a motion to have a resolution in favor of the All Saints Property Planning Module? I'll make that motion. Do I have a second?
I guess I'll second.
All in favor? Oh, sorry. Questions from the board? Apologize.
Did you make mention that we were supposed to review this?
Just, I may have misspoke. Just prepare the resolution to approve the planning module.
Okay, because there was no explanation as to what the planning module entailed.
The planning module is the submission to the DEP for the approved sewer planning connections for the proposed land development project for the Newtown Archdiocese project.
Yes, they were able to get the EDUs from the sewer authority so they could proceed with planning of the development. That is correct.
Just for clarification, we have the resolution, and we just need to okay it and sign it. Is that it? You mentioned a resolution.
Yes, that's correct. The resolution's in the board packet. It's also in the packet for signature.
Okay.
This is just an administrative function so they can submit the planning module to DEP.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Any other questions? Everybody good? All in favor of supporting this resolution? Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 2 is regarding the 2024 Newtown Township Liquid Fuels Road Program. It is change order number 1. This change order is just an adjustment of quantities. It reflects the adjustments to the scope of work performed by the contractor, James D. Morrissey, and their subcontractor, NJS Concrete LLC. As mentioned, the purpose of this change order is just to adjust the existing contract items to equal the final field quantities. This change order actually reflects a reduction of $20 to the contract items. So upon approval of this change order, the revised contract value will be $744,487.05.
Second.
Any other discussion from the board? From the public? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Thank you.
And lastly, again, with the 2024 Newtown Township Liquid Fuels Road Program, requesting authorization to approve payment certificate number 1. RVE has reviewed the contractor's payment certificate number 1, and we do recommend payment to James D. Morrissey, Inc. in the amount of $252,258.71. The amount of $13,276.77 is being held for 5% retainage. I'll note for this payment certificate, the amount to be paid from the liquid fuels funds totals $220,116.71, and the amount to be paid from the general funds totals $32,142.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to pay for payment certificate number 1? Do we have a second? All in favor? Aye. Oh, so questions, further questions from the board? From the public? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you very much.
Sorry. Brings us to our solicitor's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first item on the solicitor's report this evening is consideration to authorize the chairman of the board to execute an engagement letter with Cohen Law Group to negotiate a Verizon cable TV franchise agreement renewal.
Could you explain what that is exactly?
My watch wants to tell you what it is, because
thank
it
you.
sometimes just
Yeah,
pops
mine
on,
does
and I
that too.
don't know
Yeah.
why. But thank you, yes, appreciate the opportunity. This is a consortium of municipalities in which Newtown participates and has participated for many years regarding cable TV franchise agreements with the large providers of cable TV. It'd probably be Comcast, Xfinity, and Verizon. In this case, and in past cases, the consortium has used the services of Cohen Law Group, which is a boutique law firm that specializes in negotiating with cable providers and protecting the interests of local municipalities. In this case, Cohen Law Group has submitted a proposal to the consortium. The consortium has recommended adoption, and it would be appropriate for the board to entertain a motion to authorize the chairman to execute an engagement letter with the Cohen Law Group to negotiate a franchise agreement renewal with Verizon Cable.
Okay. I'll make that motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions from the board?
Yes. Mr. Sander or the manager, this is a income providing to the township, correct?
Correct. There's the
Could you
franchise
Could you
fee.
explain how that franchise fee is determined and how much of a franchise fee would the township be getting?
The law, I believe, provides that the maximum franchise fee that the township can charge is 5% of gross revenue from the cable company, but the key and the devil is in the detail of defining gross revenue and what is and isn't included, which would, in that case, either reduce or increase the amount of the franchise fee. It's always 5%, but 5% of what is the question. So that is why the Cohen Law Group has the experience to negotiate the most broad definition of gross revenues to ensure that the municipalities and the consortium are receiving the largest franchise fees that they can.
Okay. So it would be 5% of what Newtown Township would get in gross revenues?
Correct.
Okay. I'm just looking at something here that says a 5%, well, this is a discount, I believe. But that's not revenue. That's for the.
That, hold on.
No, that's what we pay them.
Yeah, that's probably a discount on the fee that the consortium is paying to Cohen because we're a consortium. And it's the more bang for your buck.
So we collect 5% of the, say, gross receipts of the contract, and then we pay 5% back out to Cohen.
No. This, I believe we're saving 5% on
I just feel
on
like
our fee.
this is an important thing that we just look at, but not too many people know what it's all about. I've been privy to doing this for a long time, and I know Cohen is a reputable law firm. That's what their specialty is. But I don't think people realize that we collect these funds from the franchise agreement, and it's revenue to the township. And I think that's a pretty important aspect.
That part of it is correct. We're also saving, not paying them 5%, saving 5% on the fee, and then we collect 5% of gross revenue from Verizon.
Okay.
So it's a win-win in that regard.
So that just deals with Verizon.
Correct. That's what this agreement is
Now, do we
for.
have such contracts with the other cable companies?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they are in, there is a Comcast Xfinity agreement that is in force currently. This Verizon one is coming up, it's timely, and that's why the consortium has reached out to Cohen.
And would Cohen Law Group represent us in regards to the other two companies?
I believe that the consortium uses Cohen to also negotiate with Comcast.
Okay, no conflict of interest because he's also dealing with Verizon?
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay,
They're on the same side.
thank you.
Certainly.
Can I ask a question? You don't know exactly what we would get from this contract, but what about in the past? Do you have any idea of a number of?
Yeah, the numbers are available. We certainly have gotten our franchise fees. I'll defer to the manager.
The total line item in the budget is about $425 a year for both Comcast and Verizon.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the board? We good? Any questions from the public? Okay, we've had a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next item on our agenda is consideration of the request of Katra Longsdorf at 281 North Lincoln Avenue for an extension of zoning relief for a house addition. This was original zoning relief that was received dated September 15th, 2023. We received a letter from her designer who's working on her home addition stating that there have been numerous personal issues in the family that have prevented them from moving forward with the project. The zoning relief expired technically on March 15th of 2024. They are coming to the board after the fact and asking the board to grant them an extension of 1 year from March 15th, 2024 to complete this project. If the board is of a mind, it would be a motion to grant the request of Katra Longsdorf for an extension of zoning relief for her house addition to March 15th, 2025.
Do we have such a motion? I'll make that motion. Do we have a second? Any questions from the board?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. In light of public comment, so in these matters where a zoning relief has been awarded, the inspector, building inspector, will look over the work once completed and make sure it's up to code and according to the variance that was provided. Is that how it works?
Yes, that's exactly how it works.
And if there's any complaint about how construction may be going, people should refer to the building inspector
Yes,
to make such a complaint?
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Sanders, since this was passed a while ago, and we don't have a copy of the original request, I'm assuming everything was okay in regards to, say, impervious surface and any kind of stormwater runoff, all that, since it is an addition?
Correct. The decision in order was attached to the agenda, and they were granted, if I could find it, relief for a front yard setback.
Yes.
That's the only relief that was granted.
Okay, 37.07 feet.
There it
50
is, yep.
required.
Yep.
Okay, so all that has been taken care of, and all we're doing is extending the time period for them to have this completed.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions from the public? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That concludes our report.
Thank you. Mr. Manager?
Thank you. General fund balance this evening is $7,584,645. Plan expirations before the board with no action required. This evening, we have Chief Hearn to give his monthly chief's report. Evening, Chief.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, board members. August 2024 police report. We documented for the month of August 2,520 calls for service. We logged just over 21,000 miles this month on our patrol fleet. August was a busy month. We had 24 arrests and clearances, which included 1 aggravated assault, 4 simple assaults, 2 wanted persons out of jurisdictions, 10 retail thefts, 2 counterfeiting incidents, 1 forgery, 1 evading arrest, and 3 DUIs. We're also busy with our investigations. There were 20 new cases referred to detectives for investigations, with 4 crime scenes processed. The most major was 2 burglaries of residential properties. We had 67 crashes for the month, resulting in 16 reportable, 39 reportable, 30 deer strikes. So keep that in mind when you're driving this month. Pay attention to the deer on the road, please. Slow down. 186 citations were issued, 211 warnings were issued. There was 1 truck enforcement detail at the bypass in Lindenhurst with 8 vehicle inspections and 1 warning issued. Notable jobs for the month of August and significant events. Twice facility, a business at the shopping center was hit with a retail theft ring, both on 8/21 and 8/31. Each time was 1 adult, just over the age of 18 years old, and 3 juveniles. On the 8/31 job, that vehicle was a stolen vehicle taken out of the city of Philadelphia. During both incidents, all foot pursuits were engaged in both incidents. All 4 from both jobs were apprehended by the Newtown Township Police Department. Just be aware when you're in a shopping center, if you see something suspicious, please call us. And on 8/16 and 8/24, I mentioned the residential burglaries. Same thing, if you see suspicious activity in the yard, somebody's house goes away for a while, have the neighbors pay attention to each other. That's the way we keep our community safe. Public service announcements for the month of August. We attended the Grange Fair, participated in the public service event, seeing some of you up there. That was from August 14th to the 18th. September 21st from 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. We're having our classic car show at Veterans Park down the street. School is back in session. At every one of our schools, we had a large police presence during the openings and for the entire week as a result of the unfortunate Georgia incident at their high school. Frauds on elderly are continuing. Please pay attention to your parents, your grandparents, elderly neighbors. Phone solicitations and continuing efforts to get personal information, they're continuing to attempt that. So please do not share your personal information out with anybody you do not know. That's about summary of my police report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I have a question. I am hearing from a lot of people. I actually was in McCaffrey's, and they told me that the coupons that they send to people in the mail are not getting to people's houses, which leads me to believe that there obviously are still problems with the post office, and maybe that is increasing. I mean, you know, That's pretty audacious, taking people's coupons. I know my coupons mean a lot to me. So I guess that is still something that's very much going on.
Mail theft is continuously in the area. Do not use it. If your mail is dropped off in your box, please remove it as quickly as possible. I would suggest not putting outgoing mail in your mailbox with the flag up. Take it to the post office, deliver your mail, mail your mail inside the post office. Don't use the freestanding boxes. There is a crew out there. What they're doing with the coupons, I don't know, but they are washing checks as a result of that.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody else have any questions for the chief?
Yeah, Chief, I have a question in regards to the total crashes and average crashes per day. I know that sounds kind of awful, total crashes, but is it true that a crash could be anything from a head-on collision to just a fender bender, but it all has to be thrown into that crashes category?
Yes, we document all crashes under the UCR coding system that we have. Any contact involving a motor vehicle crash on personal or private property or on the public roadways, we document accordingly, and that's there to document it.
Okay. So, I mean, when it says average crashes per day, that could be just someone didn't stop quick enough at a stop sign and bumped the front bumper.
That's correct.
So, okay. All right, because that's a question that's been asked actually to me, and I tried to explain it that just because it says crashes doesn't mean it's been
Yeah, it's not significant.
fatality.
It's not significant crashes. It's any type of motor vehicle damage which requires a police reporting system for it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. We have one more item under our report for the board's consideration. It's the authorization to purchase rock salt for the 2024-25 season. This year, the lowest bid was received by the Bucks County Consortium from Morton Salt in the amount of $60.95 per ton. Last season, the price was $66 per ton. The appropriate motion would be authorization to purchase rock salt through the Bucks County Consortium from Morton Salt Incorporated.
Do I have such a motion?
Second.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
I just have a question of curiosity. I see that last year, the low bidder was Sylvie Concrete.
Sylvie Concrete, yes.
A concrete company sells salt?
Yep.
Okay. I hope they don't put the salt in their concrete. That's it. Thank you.
Anybody else? No? Okay. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion from the public? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of purchasing our Morton salt, please say aye. Aye. Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you. That's all we have under our report.
Okay, Mr. Secretary Treasurer, you're on.
Okay, regarding the August 14, 2024 Board of Supervisors minutes, I have just two corrections. The name Jeremy Stodd on page 1 should be Stoff, S-T-O-F-F. And on page 2, the name Randy Eddington should be Randy Edgington, E-D-G-I-N-G-T-O-N. And that's it for that. So next is the August 28th, 2024 bills list. I move.
Do you want to make a motion for the?
Oh, we need a motion to approve the minutes based on my corrections. I'll make that motion.
Okay. Any questions from the public? Board? Public. Okay. Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of accepting the minutes of August 14th, 2024, please say aye. Aye. Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, getting back to the bills list, I move we pay our bills totaling $134,684.41 as per the August 28th, 2024 bills list.
Okay. Any questions any other questions from the board? Any other questions from the public? I'll call the question. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
Okay. Next, I move that we approve funds transfer of $618,843.25 as per the August 28, 2024 bills list.
I will second. Okay, we have a second for Mr. Calabro. Any discussion from the board? Any discussion from the public? If not, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. 3-0. Thank you.
Okay, next is I move that we pay our bills totaling $770,048.42 as per the September 11, 2024 bills list.
I'll second that. Any discussion from the board?
Just a comment. Since there's only 3 of us, I will vote for the bills list. I will hold my nose because TD Bank happens to be on this bills list, and they just recently had to put away, I don't know, a couple $1 million in regards to money laundering lawsuits that are against the bank. So I haven't liked this bank from the beginning. I still don't like this bank, and they're not even a United States bank. They're a Toronto Dominion Bank. So they're out of Canada. So I'll hold my nose. I'll vote for this because I want to see the bills paid.
We'll make Canada great again.
Okay. I thank you for that. Any other questions from the board? Any questions from the public? If not, I'll call the question. All those in favor of accepting the bills list of September 11, 2024, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0.
Finally, I move we approve the funds transfer of $398,410.73 as per the September 11, 2024 bills list.
Any questions from members of the board? I have none. Anybody else? Any questions from the public? Not, I'll call the question. All those in favor of passing our interfund transfers, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. That brings us to our second round of public comment for things that are on the agenda. Please state your name if anybody wants to come up and say anything.
John DeApril, Newtown Grant again. It was brought up earlier, something about murals in the bypass or murals in Newtown Township. Not looking into history. The mural program was started in this area anyway to cover up graffiti. So it was to cover up a mess up. And what happens with a lot of murals, it'll get graffiti on top of the mural. Or the mural will get destroyed. Like if it was of a politician or maybe even a Catholic saint. If somebody didn't like it, they egged it, they messed it up. Flags, you see flags up, causes division. I mean, if I were to put a mural up with flags, I'd have, naturally the American flag, it should be the only one up, the Italian flag, an Israeli flag, a papal flag, now, it was something that the township wouldn't have to legislate and look after and all that stuff, even if a private company ran it. A private company was liable to stick their own ideas in there. I mean, after all, this isn't New Hope, it's Newtown. So please don't consider any murals because it's just more headaches for the township. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, that brings us to old business. I would like to say we have completed the fire services agreement with the borough for 2025 for approximately $192,000. That includes an increase of under 5%, and 10% of capital expenses are paid by the borough. That is what I have in old business. Anybody else? Okay, moving on to new business. We are voting to approve a new member of the Environmental Advisory Council, and his name is Razvan Ionescu. He is an accomplished environmental advocate that will be a great addition to us. So I think we sent his little blurb to everybody, his resume, and I hope you had a chance to read it. And I'd like to call that to a vote if nobody has an objection. I make a motion to admit Razvan Ionescu to the Environmental Advisory Council. And do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor say aye. 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 Motion passes 3-0. Then the last thing I have is something called, that we were asked to do on Sycamore Street in the township, and that is and at no cost to the township, to put up purple ribbons for a woman's place, which is a domestic violence program for women, and October is the Paint the Town Purple Month. And again, at no cost to us, they put up purple ribbons around the light posts in Bucks County towns, and hopefully nobody would have a problem with them doing it in the township. So if anybody from the board has any discussion about that, I'd certainly like to hear it. If not, I'd like to.
I don't have a discussion. I think it's a great thing. I'm just curious, is this the same organization that wanted to establish a safe haven here in Newtown Township, but we had a neighbor who said that he didn't want to see people walking around with machine guns and guarding the property. These would have been for abused women, and I think that it was appalling that that gentleman building $1 million house across the street was depriving women who were thrown out of their homes by abusive husbands and were going to live in this particular property, which was set way back, that he wouldn't even see these people. But to save his $1 million property, he fought that these women couldn't have a safe haven here in Newtown Township. And I think that was an awful thing to do. Has nothing to do with this, but I think in regards to women's safety, this was appalling. That man should be ashamed of himself, and I hope he enjoys his $1 million home.
So you would be in favor of purple ribbons tied around the light poles on Sycamore Street? Any problem from anybody on the board? Okay, I don't think that needs a vote or anything, right? No, it doesn't. Okay. We did not have an executive session tonight, right, Mr. Sanders? So,
That is correct, Madam Chair. No need.
okay, so with that, without objection, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.